Good evening, everyone. This is BremSter, and today I am recording a puzzle called You Can't Have Any Pudding by Jeremy Dover. I'm a big Pink Floyd fan, so this one had to come to the top of my queue. This one did come with a rules rewording that had to be done on it because the rules did confuse some people, I had to make that happen because there was a lot of contention about what the rules meant, and I ended up having to send the solve guide through to a tester, and then they were able to figure out what the rules meant and clarify it and all sorts of stuff. So hopefully the version we've got of the rules now will make it clear. So let's have a look at it and see if we can figure it out. I'm recording this while I'm still on a break from recording puzzles and everything, so I'm trying to get everything clear, and I don't know the order it's going to come out or when or how, so yeah. Let's just look at the puzzle. So normal Sudoku rules apply. So in every box, in every row, and in every column, the digits 1 to 9 have to be placed without repetition. We have quadruples. So digits that are placed on a quadruple circle must be placed at least once in the 4 cells touching that circle. So for example, around this quadruple, we know the digits 1, 2, 3, 4 need to be placed. But around this quadruple, for example, we may place 1, 2, or there may be more than 1, 2. We don't know. It might be perfectly possible for there to be 2 2s, and in fact if I look at this clue I can see that there must be 2 7s around this clue, so you must place 2 7s. That's the way it works. And then we've got an anti-Battenburg rule. So in every 2 by 2 group of cells, there must be at least one pair of cells that share an edge which have the same odd-even parity. So if I pick any two group of 2 by 2 cells, in here, there must be at least one pair of cells that share an edge. So that means these. So this is sharing an edge, sharing an edge, sharing an edge, sharing an edge. An edge being, that is an edge. So one pair of cells that shares an edge that have the same odd-even parity. So if those have the same odd-even parity, this 2 by 2 would be covered, as would that one. But there must be at least one set of pair of cells that share parity. Basically, a Battenburg puzzle. What it often means is you would have a pattern like this, and these would all have different parities. What anti-Battenburg is basically saying, you can't have this pattern of different parities anywhere in the grid. So I'm going to restart the puzzle to restart my timer. Let's give this a shot. So we can start with the quadruple. We know that these digits contain the digits 1, 2, 3, 4, and these 4 contain 4, 5, 6, and 7. So this has to be the 4 because it's the only overlap, and this is 5, 6, and 7. Now, if we think about the anti-Battenburg, if this was a 2, this would be broken. So let's start marking odd and even. So this is even. If this was an even, the 2, these would both be odd, and I've hit my Battenburg pattern, which I cannot have. So this can't be even. Man, why does it keep putting itself into color change mode? Sorry, it was in color editing mode. This has to be the odd. This has to be odd, which means it can't be 2, and one of those is one of the 2s. Similarly, this can't be the 6, because if this was the 6, this would be the even. These would both be odd, and I've hit my Battenburg pattern again. So that is the 5. This is odd. Now over here, this is 6, 7, 8, 9. This is 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is the 6, which is even, and this is the 3, 4, 5. Now there's no 6 here, and again, if this was even, I would hit my Battenburg pattern, so that can't be even, that has to be odd. And if this was even, and the reason that's true is because I've got 2 even and 2 odd. If I had a different color, a different number, I'd be okay. So this can't be the 4, because then I'd have 2 evens and 2 odds, and that wouldn't work, so that is odd. The 6 here takes 6 out of here. Oh, so this is actually a 5, 7 pair, and this is the 6, which is even. 4 looks across, taking 4 out of there, so this is a 3, 5 pair, and as you can see, that's now the 4, which is good. As you can see, in this 2 by 2, I've got a pair of digits. In this 2 by 2, I've got a pair of digits. So as long as in every 2 by 2, I can draw a pair of digits of the same parity, I'm going to be good. These are now 1 and 2. These are now 8 and 9. Not sure what to do with that. Well, actually, there is something here. This These are 4, 5, 6, and 7. There's no 4 or 6 here. So this is a 5, 7 pair. And this is not 5, 7 because I have to get a 4, 6 around here. So those are both even. Now I'm okay on that Battenburg. Oh, hang on. That's a 1, 2, 3 triple. So, right, the 3 on this 1, 2, 3 triple is over here, so that's not a 3. The 7 in this 7, 8, 9 triple is over here, so this is not a 7. And these are 4, 5, 6. That's cool. These are now 2, 8, and 9. Can I tell anything about that? No, because 2 of these are going to be even, and that's going to automatically complete that Battenburg pattern. Okay, so these are 2, 3, 4, and 9. I'm not sure what to do about that. Well, what I can do is I can remove 4 from that cell because this is a quadruple trick. Anytime you've got 2 quadruples like this, where the quadruples do not overlap, but they share either the same 2 columns or 2 rows, and they contain the same digit, you cannot put that digit somewhere else in those columns or rows. So, for example, if I was to put a 4 here around this quadruple, the only place I could have put the 4 would have been, if I didn't know anything else, would have been in one of these 2 cells. Now, in this case, it was here. And then where could I put the 4 around this quadruple? Because the 2 columns would both have their 4s in it. So between the 2 quadruples, I am taking the 2 4s I can put in those 2 columns. The same is happening with 5s in these rows. I can't put 5 into any of those because there'd be a 5 in one of the 2 rows there and a 5 in one of the 2 rows there. In fact, this is 5, 7, and 9, and it's got to have 2 7s, so it's actually 5, 7, 7, 9, and those are all odd. How do I make this work? This is 1, 3, 6, and 8. And I can't put a 3 there, so I can't put a 3 there. So there is a 3 there. So I can't put a 3 there. So there is a 3 there. Is that doing anything? I'm not sure. Oh, the 5, 7 is making that the 3 and that the 5, which looks back making that the 7 and that the 5 and that the 7. Is that doing anything? Well, 5 and 7 have to be in here. There's no 5, 7 in any of those, and there's no 5, 7 in any of those. So 5 and 7 is in those. But there must be a 7 in here because there must be 2 7s around here. So this one quadruple is taking up both 7s in all of these rows. So that can't be a 7. And it can't be a 5 either because there's a 5 here and a 5 here. So I can't put 5 in any of those. So that's not a 5. This is a 5, 7 pair, which are both odd, which is actually giving me the odds I need for all of those. But this can't be even now. If this was even, then this would be a Battenburg pattern. That has to be an odd digit. So it's 1 or 9 because it can't be 3, 5, or 7. Oh, I've got another one there. This can't be odd. If this was odd, this would be a Battenburg pattern. That has to be even. So this is 2 or 8. So that's a 2, 8, 9 triple. So the 9 on that triple is there, and that is not a 9, making that an even digit. The 9 is in here. But one of those has to be even, because I can't make them both 9. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 evens. All of those must be odd. And now that must be, no, that can't be even. If that was even, I'd have a Battenburg pattern. That is odd. So that's the 9, and there's no 9 there. That is now even. So there's my 2, 8, 9. The 2, 8 looks down, taking 8 out of those. So 8 is in one of those two. The 5, 7 looks up, taking 5 out of theirs. That's 4 or 6. So that's even. Eight is in one of those two, so it can't be in those, so it's in one of those two. These... that could be either. That could be either. It's weird. I look at these 2x2s and they're all already satisfied. So I'm trying to figure this one out. So there's a 3 in one of those two cells, because the 3 looking up here takes 3 out of there, but I have to put 3 in this box somewhere. And there's a 3 down here somewhere. Well, this is interesting. 7 is up here, and 7 has to be in here somewhere. I can't put... where is 7 in this column? It's got to be in one of those two, because I can't put it there because of that. And the same is true here. Where's 7 in this column? It's in one of those two. So 7 is in one of those. What are these? 1, 3, 5, 7. Well, what can that be? It can't be 7. 7 has to be in here. And it can't be 9. So this is 1, 3, or 5. And it can't be 3. This is just 1 or 5, because the 3 is in here. If it's 1, that's 1. And then that's 1. I'm not sure what that's doing. If it's 5, that becomes a 5. Then there'd be a 5 in here. That would be a 5. No, I can't see how to resolve that. How am I avoiding... Sorry, I'm trying to see what we're doing to avoid... Interestingly enough, 2 is in one of those two cells because the two 2's here are knocking 2 out of all of those. And the fact that this is a 2-8 pair is knocking 2 out of those. So 2 is in one of those two. If that's a 2, that would be even, and that would also have to be even, because it couldn't be odd. So if that's a 2, all of those are even, and that doesn't work. This can't be a 2. If this is a 2, this becomes an 8. And in order to avoid a Battenburg pattern forming, that would also have to be even. But there are 2 evens up here. And there'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 evens. That doesn't work. That's not the 2. That's the 2. That's the 1, which makes that odd. Which makes that 9, which makes that 8. That becomes even. Which makes that 9, whoops, I'm in the wrong mode. That 9, which makes it odd. Which takes 9 out of there and puts 9 into there. Can I take that any further? Yes, this becomes the 8, this becomes the 2, which takes 2 out of there. This is now a 3-4 pair, so 4 comes out of here. This is 2, 9. That was a tricky spot. These are 1, 3, 8. There's no 8 there. There's no 3 there. That's the 1. This is a 3-8 pair, but that is odd. Need to avoid a Battenburg, so that needs to be odd, so that becomes the even, because that's the 3, that's the 8. Need to avoid a Battenburg, so that can't be odd. That becomes even, that becomes odd. So this is the 6, this is the 4, this is the 5. That was really clever, but that's a tricky spot. The 8 makes that the 9, which makes that the 7, because that is now the odd digit. This now becomes even, which is 8. The 1, of course, made that 2, which is even. That takes 2 out of here. These are both 1, 3, which are odd. That becomes the 2, which is even. Wow, that was tricky. Now, this sees 1, 7, and 9, so it's 3 or 5. That one could still be almost anything. The 6 looks down, making that the 4 and that the 6. There's an 8. That's just an 8 by Sudoku. Can't put 8 in any of those. That's an 8, which is even, which takes 8 out of there, making that an 8, which is even. Now, these are 2 odd and 2 even, so that can't be the even anymore, or I'd have a Battenburg. That is not the 6. That is an odd digit. Oh, and the 1 looks down, taking 1 out of both of them. So that's the 3, that's the 6, that's the 1. So we have odd and even. The 3 makes that the 4 and that the 3. So that becomes even and odd. Not seeing a Battenburg forming here, but I know what that digit is. That's the 1, which is odd. This is the odd digit that is missing. So this is 1, 5, 7, or 9. It's not 1. So this is the 1 in the box, which makes that the 3 and that the 1. This is 5, 7, or 9. Can't be 7, because the 2 7s are in a crossover here. So this is not a 7. Because the 7s have to be in a pattern like that. Either way, there's a 7 in one of those 2 cells. This is a 5 or a 9. This is 3, 5, 7. Not sure which. The 2 is now in one of those 2 because of the 2, 9 looking down. In fact, I know what these are. 1, 2, and 8. There's no 2 here. I know what these are. 4, 7, 9. But I don't know I know there's no 7 there, but I don't know, because I could put I could put the 4 here, down here, and in one of those 2, because these are 4, 6, and 7. And again, I know there's no 7 here. The 8 here is looking across saying that's not the 8. This is a 1 or a 2. This is strange. There's a 4 in one of those two as well, but it's not there. That's a 4. I have to put a 2 and a 6 in here. So there's a 6 right there. And there's a 2 in one of those two. Which means there's a 2 down here. I get the feeling the bottom of this grid is going to be tricky. There's a 3 in one of those two. I'm not seeing a Battenburg I need to avoid. I know what this triple is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 6, and 8. Those are all even. Right, I had 5 odds. These are all even, and now there is a Battenburg I need to avoid. If that was odd, that would be a Battenburg. That is even and is a 4. So that is a 6, which is also even. Taking 6 out of those and 4 out of those. 7 and 9 are all odd. The 6 takes 6 out of there. Oh, the 8 looks across, making that a 2. So I can take the 2 out of there. That 2 makes that a 1, which is odd, which makes that 8 and that 2. These are both even. This is so cool. This is a 4-7 pair, but I'm not sure how that resolves yet. Hang on, that's all 4 evens. These are all odd. And that's risking a Battenburg there. If that was even, that would be a Battenburg pattern. That is odd. So that's the 9. That's the 2, which is even. This is not the 2. This is the 2, which is even. This is odd. I'm terrified there's a Battenburg somewhere I've missed. Oh, this 8 is looking down saying that's not the 8. That's the 8, which is even. There is a 2 in one of those two, and that 2 looks across saying it's not there. That's the 2. Even it. So the 2, 4, 6, 8, these are all odd. Not seeing a risk of a Battenburg there. This is 3 or 5. There must be a 1 and a 9 in there. So there's a 1 in one of those two. Yeah. These are 1, 3, 5. There's no 1 there. Oh, that's a 5 because of the quadruple. That's a 5, so that's a 3, so that's a 5, so that's a 7, so that's a 5, so that's a 3, so that's a 7, so that's a 9, and I can take 9 out of those. This is 5 and 7. There's no 9 there, but there has to be a 9 around the quadruple. That's the 9. The 7s, if this was a 7, where would I put the second 7? I couldn't do it. Those are both 7s. That's a 5. The 5 looks across, making that the 3, taking the 3 out of those. This is so clever. These are 1 and 9. I'm worried now. These are both odd because I've got all 4 evens, and they are 3 and 5. The 3 here makes this the 5 and this the 3. These are both even. They are 4 and 6. How is this going to resolve? The 5 makes this the 1 and this the 5, which makes this the 9 and this the 1. The 9 makes this the 7 and this the 9, which makes that the 4, which is even, which makes this the 7, which is odd. The 4 looks across, making that the 6 and that the 4, which makes that the 8 and that the 6. And that is the correct solution in 21 minutes and 36 seconds. That is amazingly fun. I liked that puzzle. That was really, really cool. And you can't have any pudding if you don't solve your Sudoku. That was really, really cool. Wow. Yep. This is why I try and keep this channel running, but boy, can it be tricky sometimes. Yeah. But I love the puzzles. So thank you, Jeremy Dover, for the puzzle. Yeah, we had to play around with the rules a little bit so that They were a bit clearer. The original rules stated, I think it was like in every quadruple that marked with a square, but with quadruples in the puzzle, it wasn't clear what was meant, and we had to change it to 2 by 2. Because I had a look at the original wording, and it was like on every quadruple marked with a square, and then there was a negative constraint, and a lot of the testing was like, but what? And it's like, no, it's every 2 by 2 group of cells. It's like, state that. No, very, very cool. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you're enjoying whenever this comes out. I don't know. This could be released a month from now. I do not know how it's all going to work. So I hope you're enjoying whatever is happening. And as always, good luck with your solving.